Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of Business Indonesia's podcast series. My name is Andra Wisnu and this is from the Archipelago. Indonesia is emerging as one of Asia's most dynamic investment destination, fueled by strong domestic demand, abundant natural resources, and a vast consumer market. This momentum is closely tied to the government's ongoing reform to improve the investment climate and align regulations with global standards. Joining us today is Ms. Nurul Hasbullah from Econit, the German-Indonesian Chamber of Commerce, Industry and Commerce, the Legal Investment Consultation Department of Econit, where she will share insights on Indonesia's latest investment regulations and what they mean for the country's economic direction moving ahead. Bu Nurul, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm very happy to be here to discuss further regarding recent regulatory change within these years. And yes, I am Nurul Hasbullah. I'm from the legal department at Econit, where we constantly support foreign companies to start their business here in Indonesia.
Oh.
Yeah, so happy to share.
Okay, thank you for coming to the show, Ms. Nurul. Let's start already, because yes, there has been quite a few changes, from risk-based business licensing to updates import procedures and local content rules. Could you give us a quick overview of what these changes mean for companies?
Yeah, so yes, as I mentioned before, starting from last year, we have the Indonesian government has already changed main regulations regarding investments, and also until now. But as I can say, the directions is always to ease the doing business here in Indonesia for foreign companies. And before I provide you the list of the regulatory change, I may go back first to the background why the Indonesian government start this reform, like starting in 2021. The most impactful reforms regarding all change regarding investments. It is because we have been referring to the ease of doing business indicators that are provided by the World Bank at that time. And the indicators were, I say it were because after that the World Bank has stopped the ranking list of this ease of doing business. But it's actually like a good reference because these indicators represents that practice from all around countries of how to attract foreign investment more into the countries.
I remember there were being some controversies regarding the ease of business, but it is still a good reference, yes.
And the indicators were for starting business in Indonesia were like the procedures, and then also the cost, and time, and the minimum capital. So then at that time, the Indonesian government tried to simplify all market entry and also business licensing in Indonesia.
This is starting in 2021 already.
Yes, it's starting
the
2021.
Been starting from then.
And it still keep going because after that, then we have like some discussions, like internal discussions within the countries, and then it has been amended and with the new regulations and until now. But the direction will be always the same: is to ease doing business here in Indonesia and to attract more foreign investment.
Yeah. Because I mean, we have to face it. There has been criticisms about Indonesia's business environment and how, and I mean, fairly, from foreign companies. They say that it's a bit unfriendly compared to other countries, and so I guess this is a good thing then for foreign companies looking to invest here.
Yes. So compare before 2021, I think the business environment and also the procedures also, and in speaking of the regulatory and everything, it has been improve in a good way, that it's become more simple, it's become simpler, and also more certainty is also provided under these regulations. Before 2021, it was more complicated, and we have to go to the different ministries. And then for each change, we also need to apply again and receive like a different documents and different approval. But now it's all procedures have been centralized in one system. It's called
The
online
national-
single,
Yeah, the online single
OSS.
win. Sorry?
Submission.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
OSS, yes, the OSS system. So I think it's also already showed how the governments try to make it simpler and to attract foreign investor. So it's not only apply for foreign investor actually, but also for the
Domestic.
domestic investor as well. Yes, I think we don't have like an exact ranking anymore now,
Right,
but
yes.
we can see from the increasing number of foreign direct investment that
Yeah.
come to our countries, and it's always like increasing.
Yeah, no, I think we have a graph we can probably show also to our viewers of the increase in foreign investment. I
Yeah.
think probably over a quarter, an increase of 25% at least in the last 3 years.
Yes, I think maybe what is most relevant and what is the most attractive change is actually regarding the minimum paid up capital, I would say. But also when we go back to the background, it's actually not something new, because before 2021, this minimum paid up capital is actually already only 2.5 billion rupiahs. But then in 2021, the government increased it, that the minimum paid up capital need to be minimum of 10 billion rupiah. So
Okay.
I think it's around
600.
600,000 USD. Yes, things like that. But then I think this is what will the most considerations for
I
most
see.
of foreign
I see.
investment. So there are some inputs from us, from the chambers, and also from the foreign investment to the governments, that maybe it will attract more
Okay.
foreign investment if we turning back to the old stipulations again.
Okay.
So then with starting just this month,
Yeah.
the government under the Ministry of Investments issued the new regulations, the new BKPM regulations, and stipulates that the minimum paid up capital has been decreased again to 2.5 billion rupiahs.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's also will be more attractive again for the foreign investors. Yes.
Well, not to sound, it sounds a little going back and forth,
Yeah.
but any news is
Yeah.
anything like that is just good, especially for
Yeah,
foreign
yeah, but it
investors.
also represents that the government always hearing the
Yeah, they
feedbacks.
listen.
Yeah, they listen the feedbacks from chambers or from the foreign companies as well, and try to facilitate
Yeah.
this interest as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then what about the risk-based business licensing and import procedures? You want to
okay.
expound on that a little?
This is also something new, I think, in 2021.
Okay.
But it has already been implemented for like almost 3 years now. And
Right.
yeah, and I think this is also like a positive change as well, because under this risk-based license approach, then the business license apply not in general without considering the different interests of each business sectors. But with this risk-based licensing, that for example, the trade company who will only will require like simpler business licensing compared to the other business sectors who has more higher level of risk.
Okay.
Like for example, in the industries areas where they may impact the environmental and the
Right.
other part of their business activities.
In other
yeah.
words, back then they're the same field, but one has higher risk than the
Yes.
other, and
Yes,
now
it's
it's a bit
also
easier
possible.
for the small
Yeah.
one. I mean, this is just one example of
Yeah.
how this will help investors to,
Yeah.
essentially make it easier for them to start their business.
Yeah, it's also very possible that in the same business sectors, like for example in the industrial sectors, but the risk level will be different.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
also very possible. So, but yeah, this all risk level will be different for each business classifications,
Sure.
or we call it the KBLI
Yeah,
here
the-
in
yeah.
Indonesia.
Okay. Do you want to go towards import procedures and local content rules? Is that necessary?
Yes, we can go further regarding
little?
that. Yes, but I just also forgot to mention that under these new regulations, the government's regulations and also the BKPM regulation, they still using the same approach, the risk-based level approach. But under this new regulation, they are giving more certainty to the companies,
Okay.
to the business actors. For example, before they haven't regulated specifically how long the procedures will take. But under these new regulations, they already determine the time frame. So the business actors will receive more certainty. So they, from the beginning, they know how long does it takes to obtain a business license, for
Okay.
example.
Okay. Yeah, again, going back,
yeah.
import procedures, and
Yeah.
you want to touch on
Yeah,
that, on
the
those things.
import procedures as well. We have also new regulations, and this is what I also want to highlight, that this import regulations is very dynamic, I would say, and the government also try to listen our inputs, like also the challenges that we face in the implementations. And since 2023, I think it has several changed the import regulations until now. But I think the newest regulation give us more certainty because they now introduce that this import regulation is based on cluster. So before there is only like one general import regulations, and under this one regulations they stipulated all commodities.
I see.
But under this new regulation they separated, so they issued a regulation based on the commodity sectors. And now it's still on process. We are still on phase 1, and it has already regulated like 10 commodities,
Okay.
including the relaxations as well.
Okay. It's still an ongoing process for the
Yeah,
imports.
still
Yeah.
ongoing process. Yeah, but on already the phase 1 giving like many relaxations, including what is related to the national priority now, like for example textile and also pharmacy as well. Yeah.
And local content rules. Then the last one, the big
Yeah.
topic of in the regulatory environment. What about that? Do you want to
Yeah.
give us? You want to share with us a quick
Yeah.
overview?
The new regulations of local content itself is also going to the direction that it
Yeah.
will be simpler
Simpler.
than before. And speaking of simpler, it means that they have changed the calculation method.
Yeah.
This is now specifically for goods. As far as I know, it's not yet
Like
implemented.
finished goods, I mean.
Yeah, the finished goods. It's not yet implemented for the service, as far as I know, but we have to check it again. So before, all indicators for the calculations is based on costs.
Okay.
When we calculated the materials or the raw materials, it will be no issues.
Yeah.
Because they already have the calculations for the raw materials. But sometimes it will be challenges when they calculated the manpower
Yeah. Okay.
to produce
produce
the
it.
products. Because, for example, sometimes there are manpower that doesn't directly included in the process, like for the manager or
Yeah.
some things. And sometimes they are also like manpower from overseas that also supervise the process, but not directly. And for example, 5 manpowers maybe not only produce one products, but different products. So it's a little bit challenging to be implemented for the local
Yeah.
content calculation.
Yeah.
So they change it to like a checklist approach.
Okay.
So just we just need to checklist yes, we included this or no, something like that. It's simpler.
I mean, Apple ended up creating an academy,
Yeah.
and that's sort of that they sort of count that into their allowance
Yeah,
of
the
allowing
R&D.
the goods, to allowing iPhone 16s to enter here. Okay, the R&D exactly.
Yes.
That's that manpower part that you mentioned.
It's different.
Sure,
part,
but like
it's like it's part of the whole calculation.
it's within that that new calculation method.
Yeah.
Well, those we've already probably spent quite a few minutes talking about them one by one. No, but it's okay. But because certainly, I mean, and you here as the expert, regulations they for investors and people in general, it's very easy to mistake to not understand it completely. I mean, it's a challenge. The wordings for them, it's a challenge to really understand, and misconceptions can occur. What are the most common ones that you encounter from foreign
Okay.
investors?
I think it's more about the questions
Mhm.
than they ask.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we giving the explanations about the requirements to doing business here in Indonesia and also to obtain business license and everything, then they always questions like, for example, why the minimum paid up capital are very high. For example, because we can compare it to the other major countries
true.
in Southeast Asia. And they questioning why it's so high, like 10 billion rupiahs before, even though now it's already decreased, but it's still like a high
It's-
threshold
yeah.
actually. And then the local content, why we have to achieve some
You have to meet up. You have
percentage
to meet that requirement.
yeah, the requirements and everything. But when I receive this question, then I will always go back to our core concept. So the regulatory framework here in Indonesia that the foreign investors need to understand that we are a big and a diverse countries here in Indonesia with many different economic interests. And yes, our government aims to create a more open and welcoming business environment for foreign investment, but at the same time, they also have the responsibility to protect the local interest itself. And therefore, many regulations are designed to strike the balance between those, like the foreign investments come to our countries and to protect at the same time to protect it also as well.
Yeah.
And this can be seen like, for example, of course, since 2021, we have liberalized many business sectors and opened it 100 for foreign investment.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for specific business sectors, it's still allocated only
A little closed
for
off. Yeah.
for SMEs
Yeah.
here in Indonesia, or need to be partnered
Local,
with local partner.
small, medium-sized
Yeah, small medium
enterprises. Yeah.
enterprises. Yeah. For example, in retail or installations with simple technology,
Right.
some things like that that we can see, and also that is why there is a threshold of minimum paid up capital, because basically here in Indonesia, when a foreign investor come to Indonesia, they can only establish a large scale
Yeah.
business here.
Yeah.
And large scale business here in Indonesia means that you have like minimum equity of 10 billion
Yeah.
rupiahs.
Yeah.
And then also regarding the local content requirement itself, this encourage also growth. For for the local suppliers.
Yeah.
Then they also receive these transfer technologies, and then the foreign investor try first to search the supply here in Indonesia. And also, speaking of incentive scheme like tax holiday or lower or free import duty, that also granted for foreign investor who develop infrastructure, technology, or also providing R&D here in Indonesia. So then they can contribute to the national capacity building. So yeah, then I think based on that, then we can more understand the regulations and what the government try to provide. Yeah.
It's a delicate balance.
Other than the OSS challenges, we also have like a general challenges also regarding investment of doing business here in Indonesia, not specific to the OSS. For example, like the regulatory policies here in Indonesia still focus on attracting labor-intensive sectors. So most import relaxations, tax incentives are directed toward these sectors.
I see.
Yes, but this approach is understandable since it aims to create like a large-scale job opportunities here in Indonesia. We have many productive ages now currently in
Productive age
Indonesia.
population.
Yes, and we have like the big population also as well. But however, similar outcomes could also be achieved by encouraging foreign traders to invest here in Indonesia at the same time, because I think to attract foreign manufacture here in Indonesia also they also need to know when they open the manufacturing in Indonesia, the supplies is also provided here.
Yeah, as
and
you said
this
earlier.
and this is cannot only provided by the local suppliers but also by the foreign
Yeah.
suppliers, and this can be provided here when they do not like directly required to open like a company here in Indonesia, but if they open here it will be easier for the manufacturer. So, but the biggest challenge to attract like a foreign trader here in Indonesia is that there is this mandatory requirement that a foreign wholesale trader in Indonesia need to appoint local distributor.
I see.
So they cannot directly sell their products to manufacturer or to the consumer
To directly
here.
to the consumers, yeah.
They need to have like a middle local
Yeah.
company.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the implementation there are different interpretations, but I think it will be more attractive if the government can provide more certainty. Like for example, it is allowed to have direct sale if it's like a B2B,
I see.
but so the mandatory only apply if they want to sell it in retail. Something like that.
Well, it's also like if somebody wants to set up a trading company here, and and they can have their goods partly produced here, then they can kind of already may have their own supply chain within the country, right?
Yes,
That's basically what.
This is
that's
more
basically the goal,
attractive
yeah.
also for the manufacturing companies. So
yeah.
based on my opinion, we cannot separate it.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah, that's a good
need
input.
to attract both of them here. Yes, and the other challenges is like our bureaucratic complexity and inconsistency as well, because many business sectors are regulated under different ministries. So sometimes it's overlapping, or sometimes it has a different interpretation, some things like that. This is also still like a challenge here in Indonesia. And the last one is the corruptions. Even though speaking from the regulations, we already try to improve the regulatory facility, but yeah, it's still like the big
It's still an
challenge
issue.
here in Indonesia. It's still an issue.
And it's probably an eternal issue
Yes.
coming back from the dark ages. But I
Yeah.
mean, it is what it is.
Mhm.
Well, then we've talked about a bit of the challenges and misconceptions possible. But how has the feedback been, or is that the feedback like they just asked? But let's say, well, I mean, the rule only came up this month
Yeah.
for the new threshold. But I mean, it's already we've sort of had the risk-based licensing from 2023,
21.
121. Sorry, 21. How has that gone since? How has investors' feedback been since the introduction of that and also OSS?
Yes, I think we receive like positive feedback already, especially also for companies who are already here since before 2021.
That's true, yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Those who have been here
Yeah.
already know, yeah.
Yes, so we have received positive feedback. Yes, however, of course, there are also still many sectors of OSS that needs to be improved. Like sometimes we also face the technical challenge. Yes, and also even though we already have the OSS, but for certain business license then we still need to visit or apply to another
Ministries or
platforms. Yeah,
platforms?
platforms.
Oh, because even other ministries have different platforms, different
Yes,
online platforms
yeah. So
too.
yeah, but it's just need to easier to understand is like the OSS is a platform organized by the Ministry of Investment or BKPM. But then every regulations and every procedure standards are still need to be provided by each ministries.
Yeah.
And then all these requirements and standards will be put together in the OSS systems. And sometimes, even though we already need to apply in the OSS, we still need to apply again to another platforms and
Yeah.
then going back again to the OSS. So
The
it's
spirit-
not yet fully 100% centralized in the OSS system.
Well, the spirit behind that is because they have to check to see if
Yeah.
if the applying if the applicant has fulfilled the requirements for these standards that are issued by the ministry is correct. And
Yeah.
so they still have to do that. I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah.
But again, there's the platform, the single platform that collects because there are different ministries.
Yep.
Then they go to this one platform, and then the applicant can just check this one platform to
Yeah.
to see if they've got their business license or to see if they have any of the requirements they need
Yeah.
to meet.
Yeah.
And as far as the system goes, that seems common. That seems to fit the common sense, I would imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, sometimes since it's collecting, sometimes also the current status is that the ministry haven't integrated the standards
Yeah.
into the OSS system. So yeah, but based on our experiments, the BKPM is also always open if we have any questions, and
yeah.
then we need like to have the meeting with the other related ministry. Then they are always welcome to facilitate it as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a big country, a lot of potential, a lot of interest. I mean, there's a lot of manpower and work that has to go into it, and simplifying it is probably
Yeah.
going to be a long and ongoing process. But at least based on our initial, also from my first question as well, it's moving towards
Yeah.
a more friendly environment for investors, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing.
Indeed.
But then there's we've talked about challenges, misconception. I kind of want to go probably more specific about TKD, and we've kind of touched on this. Has that been a key obstacle? I mean, for not key. Let's say, has that been a main obstacle for investors, TKDN in specifically? Yes or no?
I would say yes and no. Because it actually depends. Depends. But let's say if...
That's a lawyer thing to say.
Yes, I am a lawyer. So let's say the ideal situations where I The other situation will be that the foreign investor are actually always welcome as well if they have to produce their products here, and but with the requirements that the supply are already available here
That's true.
in Indonesia.
Yeah.
Because in
That's
general they are
difficult.
very welcome. Yes, we can produce it here in Indonesia, but the question is, are all supplies,
Do-
raw materials that
Yeah.
we need already available here in Indonesia? Because the question will be, yes, it's not, then we still need to import some raw materials, and of course it will add the cost and everything. So I think this is some consideration that has been happening here
Yeah.
now. And that is also the challenge as well, that for some sectors that is required to have like some percentage of local content, but it is very hard for them to achieve it because it's not all
A lot of
available
their-
here.
a lot of their
Yeah,
materials come from
materials available
overseas.
here in Indonesia.
At the same time, though, it kind of synergizes with the new import procedures, which has also been simplified.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. It sounds to me the government is trying to make sure that all the regulations synergize as well for the end goal of attracting investors. Then.
Yeah, this is also one point. But the other point also as well, from my point of view, that the government also need to review again this calculations method and also the requirement
For local
of the
content, yeah.
percentage of local content. I mean, because they also need to consider that what I said, if the local supplier are already ready
Yeah.
or not. So I think they need to consider this again and to review,
Yeah.
like in general.
Yeah, it's a lot of there's so many sectors. There's so many type of industries, so many type of goods. They have to go it one by one. It's not gonna be a short, quick, easy process. It's gonna be a long one.
But I think the effort from government is already there as
Yeah.
well, because as also we know, we have like most recent bilateral agreement as well, not
Yeah.
only with the US
Mm.
but also with the IU.
Yes, Europe, with the EU,
SEPA,
sorry,
with
yeah.
the EU under the IU SEPA, and the local content is also one issue that has
Yeah.
been discussed as well. I
Yeah.
think they will also relax it. Yeah.
We'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. Us here in Mrs. Indonesia will be keeping an eye on that. Finally, my last question then, I mean, I've already mentioned investors should to stay up to date. You being from the German Indonesian Business Chamber, Chamber of Industry and Commerce, what is Econis doing these days to make sure your members and your
Yes,
clients
of course, we try to
are informed.
always inform them with the newest regulatory change, and also providing like articles, publication, which is also published in the
Yeah.
Business Indonesia as well.
for clarity purposes, Mrs. Indonesia is a part of Econet. by the way.
Yes. Okay, and then yes, we also organize different webinars and also online roundtable as well. And we also doing effort in advocacy with the related government agencies, not only by ourselves but also cooperate with the other foreign chambers as well. And yeah, we are also very happy if you have like any questions regarding investment here in Indonesia, and also how to operate as well in Indonesia here. We are very happy, as we can also facilitate as well to have like a direct meetings with the related government bodies, or we can also connect you with our law firm partners as well.
Speaking of which, we have some open partners. You want to mention them?
We have Luther as our premium partners, and we also have Franz and Setiawan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for being in Econet's partner. Yeah, that's it from my side. Anything you want to add before we end the show?
based on our discussions
Yeah.
today, we can already see that the directions of the regulatory framework here in Indonesia always going to the direction to be more friendly for foreign investment and also to be simpler and also giving certainty. And these positive directions also continues regardless of the political situations
Yeah.
here in Indonesia. We have already like a one-time political leader change here
Yeah.
in Indonesia, but the direction still going the same. And based on the data, you may also know that Indonesia offers a large potential market, abundant labor, and a supportive manufacturing environment. And so at the end, the final decisions lies on each foreign companies itself. But yes, as I said before, if you have further questions and anything and still considering it, then please just contact us and we'll be happy to have further discussion.
Thank you again, Ms. Nunul, for coming to the show. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching. We hope you've learned something new from this little discussion we've had. If you'd like to see more of what we do, please visit our website at businessindonesia.org. Don't hesitate to contact us or email us if there's any topic you'd like to share or see in our next upcoming podcast. This has been from the Archipelago. I'm Andra Wisnu, and
I am Nurul Hasbullah. Thank you for having me
Yeah.
and see you at the next discussion.
yeah, see you. Bye.
Bye.